That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Danny Ainge.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This has obviously been a roller coaster of a day for us. Trading away Isaiah and Jay and Ante, especially Isaiah and Jay, who have been such a big part of our team and our success and our Celtic culture as leaders of our team. Very, very difficult day. And at the same time, you know, a very exciting time for one of the best offensive players in the league, an NBA champion, an Olympic champion, an all-star, and with some of his best years ahead of him at just 25 years old. Looking forward to the opportunity to working with Kyrie and getting a chance to see him in a Celtic uniform. Are there any questions?
Danny, it's Mike Petralia with CLNS Media.
I can, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, Danny. I guess I'll get right to one of the bigger questions, and that is, how did you and your front office come to the decision at this point of the off season that acquiring Kyrie was worth the steep price tag, including the Nets pick next year?
Well, it presented itself. It wasn't available earlier in the summer, this same opportunity, and these are very difficult decisions, as you can imagine. We face these difficult decisions at all times during the year. You never know when something may present itself, but an opportunity for us presented itself, even though it is a high price tag. It is a great value that we're giving up. We love Isaiah and love Jay Crowder, and we're just getting to know Ante Zizic, who we've watched and nurtured over the last year, and giving up a quality first-round pick. But, you know, acquiring a 25-year-old perennial all-star, a player that, you know, fits a timeline for us and is a fantastic offensive player, is one of the best offensive players in the league. You have to pay a heavy price.
Hey, Danny, it's Brian Robb from the Boston Sports Journal. You mentioned this deal wasn't available to you earlier in the summer. Was that more along the lines of this deal of like this specific offer, or just Kyrie being available?
Yeah, you know, Brian, I don't really remember the exact timeline, but we've been in discussions with Cleveland for quite a while. But this particular deal wasn't available to us. So, you know, but we've had conversations throughout the summer with different teams on different trade possibilities, and in particular with Cleveland, what applies to us right now in trying to acquire Kyrie. But this deal that we made today was not available a month ago.
Hey, Danny, Mark Murphy from the Herald.
Hi, Mark.
Have you talked with Kyrie and Isaiah, and can you just tell me the reaction from both players?
You know what, Mark? Those are our private conversations. I will say this, that I'm not gonna share my conversation with Isaiah. As you can imagine, I'll leave it to your own imaginations to realize how difficult that conversation might have been for me and for Isaiah. And I will say that Kyrie was very excited about coming to the Celtics.
How tough, just, you know, from a personal standpoint, how tough was it for you to, you know, make this deal with Isaiah? Obviously, every time you trade a player is hard, but given what he's kind of been through with the franchise here, how tough was that?
You know, trading both guys was tough. But, you know, Isaiah had just an amazing season this year and entertained us all, the whole city of Boston, and everybody fell in love with him. You know, he's such an underdog because of his size and his heart and his spirit in which he plays. And, you know, it was very challenging to make this decision.
Hey, Danny, it's Jeff Goodman. How much did the hip injury, play into this deal?
I don't, there's going to be probably a little bit of a delay for Isaiah as he starts the season this year, but I think that Isaiah should be fine and healthy as the season goes along.
Danny, it's Jimmy Golan from the Associated Press. You said that Kyrie fits a timeline for you. Can you just elaborate on what you meant by that?
His age is a great fit. His age and experience is a great fit for us. And with where we are with some of our younger players, his ability to score in a variety of ways, shooting from the three and getting to the basket, are elite. He has shown that the last 3 years in the NBA Finals. And at a young age of 25, it's very unique and very special what he's been able to accomplish against the best competition in the world.
Danny, Mark Murphy again. Have you got any sense, Kyrie is up after 2019-20. Have you got any sense about his willingness to stick around? I mean, was that even broached?
I won't comment on any of the things in the future. We'll deal with that when the time comes.
Jared Weiss, CLNS Media Network. Danny, can you take us through the process of the negotiations eventually coming around to being willing to part with the Nets pick, which was so valued for so long?
Well, I mean, it's still valued. Like, we still value that pick. We valued it from the time we got it, and it's still very valuable. I don't think that's going to change. But obviously, we value Kyrie more. It's that simple.
Danny, Mark Murphy. You talk about valuing the pick and all the value you have given up in this trade. I mean, with that in mind, just how rare is it to be able to trade for a player of this level then?
Yeah, I think it's extremely rare to be able to trade for a 25-year-old player that's done what he's done in his career and the offensive weapon that he is. And we know we're paying a heavy price, and we love the guys that were here, and we didn't really want to give up any of those pieces to make this deal work, but we're excited to have Kyrie.
Danny, Jeff Goodman again. How much were you concerned with everything that went on with Kyrie and LeBron and wanting to leave a situation like that? How much homework did you do to look into that situation and maybe concerned about Kyrie and some of the things that he was unhappy with at what we think is a pretty good situation?
We feel like we have done a lot of homework, Jeff, and we feel comfortable with who Kyrie is and who he can be. We feel like his best basketball is still ahead of him, and but you can be assured that we did talk to many people and did a lot of homework. Could you repeat that question?
I guess, in short, Danny, do you feel like you've not only made your team better for the short term, but also making the team better long term? Is that a unique situation to be in as a general manager in the NBA?
Yes. I mean, we have a player that has proven to be a sure thing. We know how unpredictable the draft can be, and we have a 25-year-old all-star, Olympian, world champion, top-notch scorer at age 25, and that is very rare. And you do pay a heavy price for a player of that age and that caliber.
Danny, Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. Any apprehension about doing a deal with a conference rival? And secondly, did the Cleveland management change affect anything at all? You're dealing with a guy who's been a GM about 3 weeks. How did that go? And are you settled with doing a deal with the Cavaliers and perhaps keeping them relevant for a long term?
Gary, of course, we know who our competition is, and we know who our biggest threats are each year. But we feel like this is a trade that can make us better, and that's why we did it.
Danny, Tom Westerholm with Mass Live. What made Kyrie specifically special as opposed to some of the other trade opportunities you might have had, especially in relation to the Nets pick?
Well, first of all, we've offered first-round picks of this caliber for a handful of players, a few players at least, in the past. The trades just didn't go through. But Kyrie is unique, and I think that this is an opportunity for a trade that we just wanted to do, that we felt was best for us at this time.
Riccardo Pratesi, Gazzetta dello Sport, Italy. How important has been to be able to pull this trade off for a player of the magnitude of Kyrie Irving? I mean, you have been able to add Al Horford and then Gordon Hayward, and then you were close to make it for Durant, but now you got a player of that caliber. How big it is for the Boston brand, for the franchise?
It's big for our franchise. I mean, again, I can't emphasize enough. He's a good player. We're very excited about him. We paid a good price to get him, and we're trading away good players in return, and we can't wait for Kyrie to be part of the Celtics.
Danny, it's Tom Lydon from Boston 25. I got a question about whether or not Cleveland pushed you at any point to include Tatum in the deal as opposed to the first-round pick for next year.
I won't comment on our conversations with Cleveland.
Danny, Sam Amick from USA Today. Wanted to ask, you've spoken on the hip situation, but can you speak to how big of a factor the timing of Isaiah's free agency was, and the idea that next summer, at 29 years old, you'd have a guy who obviously would be looking for a full max, and now you have Kyrie at a fixed number for 2 years. How did that play into your decision-making?
Well, I think that, we live in a world where not just a financial world, but a competitive advantage world in acquiring players. Okay, so, but I think that contracts do play a part in trade. No question about it.
Final question for Danny?
Danny, Gary Washburn. The trade with the Sixers, this trade, signing Hayward, can you capsulize the summer? I mean, Wick said a few years ago there was going to be some fireworks, and it looks like this is the 4th of July right now. Can you sum up what you've done? Do you walk away pleased, ecstatic, happy? Your emotions right now?
Why don't we talk about that when the summer's over, Gary? Let's wait and see what else happens.
So there could be more moves coming.
Gary, we never know.
Thank you, Danny.
That seems like a good place to end, everybody. So, thanks for everyone taking the time to call in. I'm sorry, is there one more question there?
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, Danny.